welcome to Consulting Talk Live. My name is Russell Pearson, and this show is for consultants who basically just want their questions answered. So, if you are looking to get your questions answered, then I am willing to do it for you. Now, who the hell am I? Well, for the last 30 years, I've been working mainly in the spaces of promotion, branding, and sales. And over the last 20 years now, it's actually 20 years, I've started my business in the marketing space. And really now what we do is we help consultants run programs. Now, I've been consulting to consultants for that 20-year stretch. In fact, I've been doing it for 30 years, but I was doing it for someone else at that time. Now I'm doing it for myself. And the across that time, there are some things that matter with big business consultants, and there are things that happen with solo consultants. In other words, a consultant who runs their own consultancy. And there are specific questions that that sort of person will ask, where a person who's just running as a consultant within maybe one of the big four will have a very different focus. And that focus will tend to be career based. But the person who runs their own practice, they're going to be much more focused in how can they actually create a business that gives them a lifestyle by design. And so, really, what I help people do is actually get success by design in their consulting space. And, some people call me the consultant to consultants. Other people call me the business blacksmith because I do blacksmithing in my spare time. But that's not what this show is about. This show is about answering your direct questions. And to do that, you can actually go to consultingquestions.com and you can put your question in there so that I can answer it live, right? So just go and type in there. I will bring it to the show and we will answer it completely live, which means that I can't go and fact check it first, can't go and work out what I'm going to say first. And the whole premise behind this show is I want to make sure that I actually give you direct counsel. That's what consulting is all about, is to give counsel. And so I want to consult with you and help you answer those questions. Now, some of the things you're going to have to obviously go and do yourself. You have to run your own business. The business choices are yours, right? So you need to decide and take those decisions for yourself. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to give you the advice based off 30 years of experience in this space. Most of the questions will tend to be about business growth, but they could be about other things as well. Some of the other areas that we look at are the outcome side of consulting. And that's a big one at the moment, especially with artificial intelligence coming in and sort of stealing the knowledge network and market. If we just focus on knowing things, right, we're probably out of a job even when Google came out. But if we just focus on being the smart guy in the room, well, now there's a big brain machine that can do a lot of that sort of work. So we don't really need to be the big brain. Now it's really our opportunity is to do really two things with clients. Number one is to get them outcomes. So how do we enable them to get outcomes more often, more quickly, more valuable, whatever that might be? And how do we facilitate that, right? So facilitation is a massive part of the work that we do. But this show is all about answering your questions. So let's talk about the question of today. I do have a question. If I can find the button that I need to click, here it is. Here's the question. And this question comes from Catherine, who is a very smart consultant in the space of cybersecurity and crime. So she asks, which is best, $1 million message or something else more conventional? Now, this is an interesting one, and this is one that comes up quite a bit. Now, first, let's talk about what is $1 million message, because there might be some confusion about what that actually is. The $1 million message is the beautifully crafted message, the marketing statement that sort of sits underneath your logo. And it doesn't always have to sit underneath the logo. It's kind of just a positioning statement. But a lot of people think that this is the art of marketing. And in an unfortunate space, it's kind of like the default setting for really poor marketing, because it's the last thing that I suggest people do. So some examples of $1 million message would be think different. All right. So that's an example from Apple. It's a positioning statement, think different. There's a lot that comes behind that. There's a lot to position that, even a Nike, right? Depending on what you say or what generation you are from, just do it. Right. So another $1 million message. These positioning statements don't just breathe life into themselves, right? They've had billions of dollars of marketing to push that message to make sure that you understand it and what it means in practice. And so just do it is just do the things that you need to do to win, really, because Nike's really positioning is like how to win, be the winner, right? Think different is that we're the misfits, and there's a whole there was two very important ads that came out. One was here's to the rebels and the misfits, that advertising that came out years ago. And then before that it was like 1982 or 1984, where they actually broke the mold. They were going, you're working for the man and you're doing all these things. Well, Apple will help you break out of that mold. And that's where the think different stuff comes from. And there's all sorts of different ones. The beauty industry has a lot of different statements. Maybe it's Maybelline. That's that sort of thing as well. They're nicely crafted, but all they are is a punchline to a joke. They're a punchline to a whole bunch of marketing that comes before it. So I don't suggest that you have $1 million message as the primary focus of your marketing unless you're going to invest in the effort to bring that to life. And so what does that mean? That means that there are far more conventional ways, and you're right in the words conventional, to engage a specific audience and to help them take a step with you. In a video that I just did, if you go and look at Consulting Business Podcast, there's a whole playlist on that. You'll see that I talk about it's nearly 2 hours. Like it's an hour and 58 minutes worth of content all about how to market, right? So it's everything I've got for the last 30 years of doing this, all sort of stuffed into 2 hours. And you actually hear my voice starts to cut out because I'm just talk. But in there, I do talk about some of the things that create a good marketing message, that do create a good advertisement or a promotional message. But then you've got offers as well. So there's different versions of what sort of messaging do I want to give when I'm doing some work. So I might bring the board over, as I do, and let's talk about a couple of those things, because what we're talking about is messaging, and there's just so much different messaging. There's so many different types of messaging. So we'll put messaging at the top. Let me bring that down a little bit. All right, so message. And so with the message, there's going to be various variations of what that might look like. And so we've got a positioning statement. So positioning. And, a lot of people look at that as not as your USP, but then there's a USP on top of that with the unique selling proposition. But positioning statement, that's where like you want people to think about you in a certain way or be positioned for a certain thing in context to where the audience is and where you are, right? So how do we close the gap between where they are and now then they're thinking about us? That's what a positioning statement is. You've got things that are like offers. So we've got a specific offer that is designed to help someone make a decision. Now, that's not going to work in any of those $1 million messaging things. That doesn't actually create a sale. It is a positioning piece at best and a branding piece. Positioning is almost it's not even slogans, but then you've got the extension of that, which is slogans, and the slogans are the $1 million message, right? And so I have a slogan that stands or is an umbrella for all the different things I have. And in fact, since we are live, let's literally do it live. If I look at message as being what we're working on, well, what does that mean then? We've got like this umbrella. That's an umbrella. And we have our slogan or slogan or $1 million message. All right. In fact, I'll put a little thing in there. Hang on, $1 million message. Yep. And it doesn't work on its own. It needs to be supported by things that come underneath it. And you've got branding, and I'm not even going to get into that because it's like, what does branding mean? Well, it's everything. It's every interaction and every experience people have with you. So it's not just about the messaging. But we usually will have a positioning statement. So it's like, who are we and what are we about? That's our position. You can't even see it. Let me just move the question off the screen. Yep, beautiful. So that's your position. You've got a specific audience, and so really, what you want to talk about, what is the outcome I think the outcome for the audience is a very, very important one, because it's like, for what purpose? What are you positioning yourself for? And so within my world, there's different elements of that. At an offer level, and we'll talk about offers for a second. At an offer level, I do a lot of work on client generation, right? So how can I help you create more clients? Now, why do I want to create more clients? Because if we get clients, right, it enables you to have client flow, which means that you have more than enough clients, which means you get to choose the sort of clients that you work with, gives you choices. Yeah. And why do we want choices? Because it's the outcomes choices. Well, because I want to help you actually create your success by design rather than default. Right. So I want you to be able to do it on purpose. And so to be able to do it on purpose, you have to have the things that are going to enable you to do that. So each one of these builds on one another. And so what I like to ensure is that, if you can have a slogan, but it's not going to do any of the work for you. It is just a reference point, just like a logo is not going to do the work for you. It is an anchor so that people can remember these other things that you said. And so really the offer, I'm starting to get messy. The offer works to the outcome, which then works to the position. So if I want a position for success by design, right? And we're talking about consulting success by design, because it's all for consultants. Success by design. And what I mean by that, it's like, how much income do you want? What sort of business do you want? What sort of lifestyle do you want? And actually being able to go, that's your version of success. How are we going to get that on purpose? Yeah. Because we did specific things that got an outcome. So by design, how are we going to curate or architect that success for you? And then we step back. Well, what is the result? So outcome, what is the result? And in this case, the result, one of the results is client flow. So we've got plenty of clients, which is client choice. I'm giving you client choice, which means that you can choose. Do I want to work with this client, or do I want to work with this client, or do I want to work with none of those clients and just bring different clients from different areas? Do I want to move my market position so that I'm no longer working with these clients I don't really love? I want to work with these clients. So you can position yourself differently in different niches. But that's part of that outcome, the result that we're getting about client choice. And the offers is how to get clients. And so, for instance, at the moment, we're running a piece on how to create an offer, right? So how to create an offer, but a high converting offer. And so that's an example of like, all right, we'll help you do that so that you have this, so that you can do this, right? And be this ideally. And underlying all that is the framework of the select consultant. And the select consultant is the identity of the person who gets to choose, a person who gets to select, do I want these clients? I select the hours that I work throughout the week. I select how I work, right? And in that selection, you actually get to design a lifestyle, because yes, we can do lots of work, but the reason that you chose to step out of consulting as a employment role, or whatever your employment role was, and stepped into consulting as the business you want to run, is because you wanted to be able to control it. You wanted to be able to have the freedom of design. You wanted to be able to choose the things that you wanted to do in your world rather than sort of being stuck. And I'm finding that there are a lot of people who are suffering from the illusion of choice, when in actual fact they don't have choice. So an example is the business that starts up that just has referrals, right? They only receive referrals, which means that they can't actually choose the type of clients they want. In fact, they can't even choose when they want to grow, because they only get referrals when someone else decides it's time for them to grow, or time for them to get a new client, right? So that's part of why I think it's so important to be able to actually create offers that get clients and do the activities to get those clients, so that you can have choice. You can have an abundance. Yeah. Have more than enough clients, not so that you fall into the trap of having to work with everybody, because that's the choice. Yeah. You choose who specifically you want to work with. And often there is this illusion of choice, especially with like large consulting engagements. People say, oh, I've got these 4 clients. Yeah, I've got 4 clients. I've got too much work. And the reality is, with 4 clients, that's too much work, which is a trap I fell into myself. Like, it's not hard business to run, to get to a point where you got sort of $300,000 odd, maybe 350. You are working with 4 clients, but you do not have a lot of time because of the way you've decided to work with those clients. You've chosen to work deeply with those clients, which is more of a sort of like a pseudo employee role, maybe a contractor role. And so, in actual fact, you don't have the freedom of choice that you wanted when you decided to start your business. You actually just have, potentially four bosses. Now you have spread your risk. If you're an employee and you lose your job or you don't want that job anymore and you have to find a new one, that's like 100% you've got to change. At least with that other version, you've got like four clients, you've got 25% that wants to change. So you lose one of those clients, you lose 25% of your income. It can actually knock your confidence a bit. And so finding ways to leverage your business model so that, yes, you can have private clients that you work with one-on-one. That's absolutely fine. But then looking at group models, group ways of working with people, leveraged ways of working with people, packaged ways of working with people. There are so many different versions of what that looks like, ideally, so that you can choose when you work as well. So you can still get paid when you're not there, when you're not in the room, you're still being paid. Retainer models do this. Online educational offers do this. There are so many different versions of what that might look like. But one of the things that I see with these people who have this illusion of choice is that they will go and take a holiday, and they'll show them taking a holiday, and they're out there taking a holiday. But while they're on a holiday, they're not working. And I understand the idea of taking a holiday is not working completely. But what I'm saying is, while they're on holiday, their business isn't working, right? Their business isn't operating and running. Yeah. And so there's a couple of ways you can do that. Yes, you can build to scale. You can build to a point where you've actually got employees running your business. That is definitely an option. The other option is you actually build a leveraged, highly probably digitized and automated business that enables you to have clients joining you while you sleep, clients continuing to pay you when you're not in the room, enabling you to have flexibility. And that flexibility, again, is a large part of the choices. But if you think about your own business, right? And we'll think about Catherine's business for a second, because she did ask the question. She could have $1 million statement, but it's not going to replace these other pieces. And so if we go to that, there may be a statement, because she talks about cybercrime and security. She may have a statement. I'm just going to make something terrible up so she doesn't choose it. Safety in cyber, all right, becomes a thing. Terrible, but like that could be the positioning statement, safety in cyber. And then you go, all right, well, what does that enable? Well, it enables you to have have the confidence of knowing that you are safe because of the things that you've got in place. This outcome is that you've got the things in place, whatever they are, and there might be 3 or 4 different things that actually make a business safe from cybercrime. And then stepping one step back, what is the specific offer? Well, it will depend on the market in the time that she wants to put the offer out and the context of the environment, all those different things. But let's get specific, and I'll just give you an example. She may decide to look at phishing scams and how to train your team to avoid phishing scams. All right. So that might be an example. And that becomes the offer that she takes to market. So they all work together, but the $1 million message does not replace this more conventional, practical, and tangible messaging. So hopefully that's helpful, Catherine. I'll send this to you so that you're aware of that it has come through. And if you, someone who's watching this in the future, I know there was a few people who jumped on live at different times, but if you would like to submit a question and have me answer it live, then you can go to consultingquestions.com, fill in the form there, and I will respond live on these episodes. And if you do put your email in, I'll let you know when the show airs, so that you can know when your question has been answered. For anybody who is a consultant who runs their own business, we have a whole bunch of resources. If you haven't already taken advantage of those, you can go to russellpearsonprograms.com, and you can have those resources delivered absolutely free. There's things that are they change from time to time. We have different resources at different times. I think right now we're running the advisor guide, which is the principles on running a successful advisory style business, which is really the consulting business. The opportunity for you is to understand what is advice now in 2025. How is it changing? Certainly the financial advice of the old, this productized version of advice is not the way of the future, because the robots. The robots are coming. They're not just coming. Artificial intelligence is stealing jobs already, and it's not the fear about the stealing of this job. It's the understanding that really we need to knuckle down and help people get results. Right? We need to actually work with them to enable them to be able to get their results. So they go, I don't just know a thing. I don't just have a direction. I actually got the result and the success by design. Till next time, my name is Russell Pearson. Stay passionate, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.